This is from a guy called Synthetic Man. He is a man who is synthetic and not real. And he has no feelings. He's just an incel. I'm not joking. He's an incel and basically a Nazi. He's pretty fucking gross. We haven't watched him on here before. You know, some of his stuff's been going around. Probably because he sucks a lot. Here's his review of Space Marine 2. I'm not going to watch 100% of this. I'm going to skip the game mechanics section. I'm going to skip enemy variety and level design. I am going to watch the intro, story, and this section named DEI, and then we'll see how long I want to watch it after that. Full disclaimer, I don't care about Warhammer. I don't play the games. I'll play this if it becomes free on the PlayStation thing. I'll check it out, and I'll play through the campaign, but I don't give a shit about it. Maybe not, though.
Only true ground you will find down there will be each other.
Yeah, have faith in your brothers. Yeah. Everyone except him. I sense heresy from this one. He's corrupted. You can see it on his skin.
So that's the kind of guy we're dealing with, I guess, is just a racist. Just a regular racist. He doesn't like seeing black guys in the game. Okay, man.
I honestly can't believe it.
How is that in the first few seconds of this video? That's just, you just thought it was the spiciest thing? I think this is like kind of the Black Pillars, like, I'll just get worse than, like, very reminiscent of some of the other people we watch around here from time to time, where it's just like, I'll just be repugnant right up front, so no one ever has to have any expectations of me, and I can always just be a piece of shit.
3 good games came out.
Is this monetized? Probably. I don't know.
Back to back in the last few weeks. First Black Myth Wukong, then Astrobot.
What? Astrobot? I haven't heard about that at all. I'm glad you like it, though. Why do people care about this game?
Back to back
not this
in
one.
The last few weeks. First,
I guess that was 5 seconds. He didn't even do 5 seconds of Black Myth Wukong. Why is this actually good? Who cares about it? Why is it just the non-wokes are very like, look, a game I like. A game I like, and it's not woke. It's like there's so many games like this. I'm cool that I'm glad that you like the game. I don't know why they choose these things as like cultural battlegrounds.
Kong, then Astrobot.
I'm glad. Is Astrobot kind of like what Little Big Planet used to be, but for now?
Now this. Maybe the video game industry is finally starting to turn around. So I should probably just get out of the way first that I'm not
starting to turn around. All this guy does is play video games. What do you mean start to turn around? You've been doing nothing but be entertained by this entire and paid to have opinions on this entire industry for years and years, your whole life.
The biggest fan of Warhammer 40K. I like the aesthetics. I like the themes. You guys already know I like any edgy, dark stuff. And all...
You guys know I like edgy, dark stuff. Look, you can like whatever you like, man. The way you say that sounds like you want other men to know that you like the game, which is a weird thing to me. Yeah, other men, I like edgy and dark stuff. You know, no big deal. You could just say I got smedged myself, really, if you think about it. So you like this for the reason I don't. I mean, it's not for me. You know, not everything has to be about me, but like the aesthetics I find cringe. I understand that part of it is like look at how super aggro everything is. It's so crazy and hyper masculine and hyper war. But that's kind of why I'm like out on it. It's a little one note for me.
All of the gore and senseless violence definitely appeals to my inner 12-year-old. That said, I am nowhere
12-year-old
near an expert on the lore. Not that it really matters for this game, because there's really not that much story, but there's
not that much story? All right, hey, 40Kers, I have, in my chat, I have a suspicion that though I am not a fan of this game, although it looks like it's got big battles, I imagine this story is not totally devoid of story, or is it? Is this actually just like got no story at all, or what?
Thought you should know that going in. I'm mostly just going to analyze this as a video game first and foremost, and I think this game does a pretty good job at achieving the niche it's trying to fill. Mainly as a sequel to the first game, which was a cult classic from the PS3 360 era, and also just in general as a horde shooter hack and slash hybrid game.
So, like, the bulky character designs and stuff is very Gears of War. I know that they did this before Gears of War came out, but, like, that big, chunky, like, I'm a thick, tanky man. I don't know. It's never done it for me. I don't really like it. I'm fine with, like, mixed body styles, but I don't really think that's what's happening here. I think I just have one body style. So that's why I've kind of always, like, not been into it. Coolest part about 40K is that the orcs are magic, and if they believe something hard enough, it becomes true. Isn't this just an extension of the Warhammer universe anyway, just 40,000 years in the future, so there's, like, this stuff? Isn't that the idea?
I think it nails both of those aspects fairly well. Certainly not a flawless game. It definitely has a lot of the same flaws that other games in this genre do. But I think if you can manage to convince two of your buddies to play this with you, you can have a damn good time. Now, another thing I want to make clear is that I really don't have a hell of a lot of things to say about this game.
What? Why did you make a 31-minute long video without having anything to say about it? Why are you here? How come he doesn't sound like he can ever be excited about anything?
I think what you see is what you get. And the actual gameplay loop is pretty simplistic, so this is actually a review of 2 games. If you'd like to hear my thoughts on Astrobot, feel free to use the chapter feature to skip to that section of the video. But the short version is, if you like 3D platformers, and I love them, I grew up with them, so I really have a soft spot for the genre. This is a surprisingly good one, probably because it was made by Sony's only Japanese studio left. It feels like both a love letter to PlayStation and to Mario, strangely enough, and I actually really enjoyed my time with that game as well. And also, one last thing, since
I'm glad that he can play his little robot game, and maybe it will make him suck less, but I don't think so.
this is
The orcs are mildly psychic and also unaware, and so their collective psyche can manifest common beliefs. Interesting. So, kind of like the Kuotel.
positive game review, that means not as much of my usual audience is going to click on this video, let's be honest, so I would appreciate if you did all of the generic YouTube engagement crap, aka liking, commenting, buy you of my videos or streams anyway.
Okay, he's still doing intro. Okay, I don't really care about the rest of this. So what I am interested in is his take on the story and the DEI. This guy started with a racist joke, I guess, and just sounds like dispassionate about the thing that he talks about. It's like, besides hating women and being a racist and otherwise a Nazi, the thing this guy does most is play video games. Why doesn't he like the hobby?
Now, normally there would be a story section here, but I don't really have much to say about the story. The story reminds me a lot of the Halo games, or pretty much any, like, 80s sci-fi action movie. And maybe that'll disappoint some people if you're into the more deep Warhammer lore, or you like the books or something. But for me, I was completely fine with essentially what felt like a Halo game story, but with a lot more grim dark and very little humor. I think the appeal of Warhammer 40K is pretty obvious. It's almost satire level ultra masculinity. It's all about a never-ending war in a dystopian.
So why do you like that? What is it about that
far
you're fucking
future,
like? Yeah.
where you and your uber-mentioned bros team up to wipe out the endless demonic and alien hordes. And it's just a fun time. It doesn't really have to be that complex. The only part of the story I really didn't like is that there's a lot of interpersonal drama between you and your 2 squad mates.
The characters are doing stuff? I don't like the interpersonal drama. I don't like that there's tension between the characters that are having to work together. Why? Why?
And it really just comes down to Titus not trusting his teammates, which obviously causes conflict. And that's really annoying to see on screen when you know exactly where it's going.
Yeah,
it plays
plot.
out exactly how you think, and it's not really done particularly well either. And I also think thematically the story would have been a lot more interesting if they had leaned harder into the Imperium's fascistic / theocratic devotion to the Emperor. At least
Do you like that?
story-wise, there's a lot of background dialogue that shows that off. But I don't know, I'm so used to the Flash Gets cartoons where the characters seem so over the top that this felt a lot more
What are you watching, man? What the fuck?
Dude, in comparison. There's also quite a few
What is with the Yif situation?
twists in the story, some of which good, some of which I didn't really care about personally.
There's some
But I really
twists.
think it serves its purpose as a video game story to be just enough motivation to keep playing. I'm the type of guy who barely needs a story to justify playing through a game.
You can just like, the more he talks, it's just like, yeah, man, I don't think I like you. I don't think you're a likable person. He just so fucking hates everything.
I think as long as your character has a very basic motivation, even if it's as simple as save the princess from the dragon.
Okay, but why does the character want to save the princess from the dragon? Is it just because she's in danger? Is there other stuff going on? Like, is it because something will happen to the kingdom if the, princess doesn't get, like, what is it? He's got book at a party energy? Dude, he wouldn't bring a book. He'd be like, reading's boring.
That works for me. And this game's story
Not enough
isn't too
happens.
many levels above that. And one more thing I gotta briefly mention is the small amount of wokeness in the game.
Do you think the wokeness is just going to be that there's a black guy and anyone else is not white or whatever? I don't really enjoy thinking I just want to LARP as a racist caveman and hit the beast with a stick. Yeah, exactly.
Depending on your definition. Basically, the only left-wing
Depending on your definition.
propaganda I noticed while playing this game is the comical amount of diversity.
The comical amount of diversity? The protagonist is a stereotypical white protagonist. Part of the reason this doesn't appeal to me is because this is like a character that I don't care about. I don't know why. I don't know what he's doing. I hate anti-woke gamers so much. I know, right? If I could make my own character, like, I would be much more interested in this game.
Most offensive being the major of the Cadian guardsmen, who is an Indian woman, an ugly one at that.
What is with this ugly? Is this guy ugly? What the fuck? He's all fucked up? Is it because she has scars?
Remember,
Why does it have to be a thing like where she has to be pretty for you or what?
testosterone converts to estrogen. Speaking of estrogen.
Speaking of estrogen,
Yeah, that's something, alright. Can we shoot her?
can we shoot her? Why?
Just stomp on her on accident. If you compare
Why is that funny? Why does it, what? Why is he sees this woman and he's like immediately mad.
her to the woman from the first game, it's like night and day. And while she really doesn't do much during the story other than yell on the comms throughout the first half of the game, it's just incredibly annoying seeing girl boss characters in this day and age, especially in a supposedly grimdark universe.
A grimdark universe with women in it? That's totally a thing.
And the diversity isn't just the guardsmen, it's also the space marines. Now,
Why wouldn't they have diversity? Wait, why wouldn't they have any diversity in the space future where they need every body, literally body, to fill these fucking meat machines to go kill people?
again, I'm not an expert on the lore, but I understand that space marines come from gene seed, which comes from their primarchs, right? Which comes from ultimately the emperor. So why are all these ultramarines different ethnicities? Shouldn't they all be the same race as Gilliman?
I would imagine that would make the DNA bad to just constantly be clones of a guy or whatever. I don't think that's how it works. That's not how gene seed works. My chat's going crazy. That is not how gene seed works.
Again, I'm not an expert on this, but I feel like portrayals I've seen of space marines, they're generally all white, except for the salamanders, who are like charcoal black or something. One of Titus's squad mates is black-ish, and the other one is like a Happa or something. It's hard to tell
A what?
because they all have these weird Giga Chad features. Basically, every space marine looks like the Chad meme, so there is one space marine that is just straight up undeniably African, which is bizarre.
Undeniably African, which is bizarre?
He's corrupted.
What? I don't think that it should be allowed to monetize with this kind of shit. He's just racist, man.
You can see it on his skin. Either way, you get the point. This has definitely got to be a retcon for diversity purposes. And yeah, I gotta say, it definitely distracted me. It wasn't woke enough for me to say like, oh, this is blatant propaganda, but it's clear to see that Games Workshop is going down a slippery slope. I mean,
a slippery slope. In literally having non-white characters is a slippery slope.
There's a female Custodes, aka the Super Space Marines.
Super Space Marine. Are they called Custodes?
That guard the Emperor. And if they're willing to make a female Super Space Marine, you better fucking believe they're gonna have a female regular Space Marine in the next couple years. So certainly something to look out
It's not Custodes, it's Custodes.
for in the future. For those of you who are concerned about dropping $70 on a 7 to 8 hour campaign that you...
Okay, so is that the end? Did you recorded that separately? Your voice sounds different. All right, I don't know if we need to watch. Do we need to watch more of this? Adeptus Custodes, the custodian guard. They are the perfection of the concept of Space Marines. And so, of course, they would be women because men are too bulky and slow and dumb. Custodes nuts. Heavens! Female Marines, fetch my fainting couch. Please. Goodness gracious. Can't be having the women folk fight in our wars. Even our fake wars. Think of the children that she could be having. Also, did he say $70 for 8 hours of content? For the story mode is what he is saying. And then it looks like he talks about the multiplayer for a second. But I don't care about what he has to say about the rest of his game review. A lot of straight guys love only looking at big, strong men. So I like in an RPG, and I guess, I don't know if this game is an RPG. I guess it's not an RPG. But I wish it would have had like a create your own Space Marine situation, and it doesn't seem to have that. So I'm less interested in it. But I would like to make a character that I identify with. And I think most people like that, or something that they, would play, I guess. I don't know. The way I do in like D&D games and stuff, to try to make something I would have fun with. But man, I don't know. I think someone like him, he is committed to being black-pilled. There's something about this guy where he just like sounds as if it would be painful for him to admit that he is excited about something or has joy over something. Deeply pessimistic, and I bet he doesn't have much going on in his life. I've heard a little bit about this guy. I know that Dead Domain did a doc on him, but I didn't watch the thing. Because passion is feminine. I think Sarah was watching it, though. She do be watching YouTube videos. Star Wars Outlaws was an unmitigated disaster. A 90-minute video. Black Myth Wukong is pretty good for a Chinese game. And then it has a racist emoji. Cool, dude. And that has the least views he's gotten from a video in months and months and months. Wowzers. Rocksteady is dead 7 months ago, talking about the fucking kill the superheroes game. The Synth Cells. The Roasty Brigade, which I assume is, ew, vaginas are gross, which is just a crazy take. His smile is, and optimism, gone. I am not an artist, lol. Yes, this is purposely shitty, you autist. What a just defensive, like, little guy. This is purposely shitty, you autist. How dare you? What a fascinating character to talk to, I bet. That guy would be a very interesting chat. Very frustrating, I bet. Roasty is a super misogynistic term. Yeah. Because he doesn't like vaginas. They're like roast beef sandwiches. Man, that's just scared to be intimate with anybody. Anyway, I personally, this might be a hot take. Vaginas, they're cool with me, buddy. Everyone applaud. Everyone applaud right now.